Hey, I'm Doug Locke. It's 6:45 in the morning.
And we are out here ice fishing, and that calls for beer. And only one beer we could think of that will work in this scenario. Coffee beer on today's Here for the Beer. So coffee beer, basically it's a beer brewed with coffee, and that's usually done by actually putting coffee beans right there in the mash. The hot water obviously brews those beans into a coffee flavor, and actually coffee really, and there it gets right mixed in there. A coffee beer technically has to start as another style, and for beer competition and beer judging, every coffee beer is going to have originated as a style. Typically you're going to find porters, imperial stouts, that kind of thing, and that's demonstrated, I guess, by the 4 beers that we have with us today. On top of that style, they'll introduce some type of coffee. Great breakfast beer.
That's no joke. This is really good with steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs and a coffee beer. So the first one we're trying here is Southern Tier, and it's the Java Imperial Stout. So, as we said, it's a Imperial Stout that then would be brewed with coffee beans.
So the Tier really makes some good beer. What's their recent one that they've had locally that we've run into?
Their IPA, I think we've seen a couple times. Unearthly.
Unearthly.
I think Unearthly knocked Amy on her ass once or twice. Yeah.
Knocked Amy on the earth.
She was not, by the way, up for joining us on the ice today. She's busy making breakfast for the guests that are in.
Chicky was with us.
Chicky was here, but we are having our breakfast down here. And Southern Tier, of course, Doug started with the strongest of the batch. I think this one comes in somewhere around 11%, which is good. You want to get, warmed up. It's 0 out today.
That's actually not true. You're not supposed to drink large sums of alcohol on the ice because it cools you down, but it's really about the experience, so beer makes everything better. The coffee beans for Java are grown 3,000 feet above sea level in Jamaica. They're made for Blue Mountain Coffee.
Blue Mountain Coffee. There's clearly a ton of roasted malt, chocolate malt, caramel malt in here. I think I Googled it. There's Columbus and Cascade are the hops, but the hops are not real obvious in this. And in most coffee beers, they're not. They're settled down. I can imagine it would be really bitter if it was, hoppy and coffee at the same time. This is quite tasty though, Southern Tier. And I don't know if I assume they're just doing a play on the word Java, Jahva, the Southern Tier Java. So also with us today, we have a couple of other coffee beers, and we'll probably not try them all on camera, but we have Berkshire Brewing Company, BBC, from Massachusetts, their Coffee House Porter. We have Long Trails Brewmaster Series, their Coffee Stout, and that's from Long Trail up here in Vermont. And then finally with us we have the new Wolliver's Alta Gracia Coffee Porter. This also has some vanilla beans in it, also from Vermont.
We were given the treat of being there when this was first coming out, and
that's right.
It was a delicious surprise. I'm pretty new to coffee stouts, and I was very happy with this. I kind of latched onto it.
And this is a coffee porter.
Whoa.
So, yeah, as we said, each of the styles, an imperial stout, a porter. There's one that I wanted to have, but we were out of it. Peak does an espresso amber, and it's really good. It's actually kind of interesting because it's a lighter beer that is done with espresso beans, where, as you can see, all the beers we have with us today are all dark beer, porters and stouts. The espresso amber from Peak is a nice alternative, where it's more of kind of a traditional amber ale with espresso beans in it. Really, really coffee. Hits you right in the face.
Wakes you up?
It wakes you up, which is what you need when you're out in the middle of the ice fishing. Or apparently you shouldn't do this. Don't do this. It's dangerous.
It's okay. Yeah. Trust me. Everybody who's out here ice fishing has some beer in their shanty.
Well, in that case, we should go check some of those other shanties.
Move inside the ice shanty to stay warm. It's cold up there. You're basically on a slab of ice.
And I think it's about 7 degrees actually outside, the thermometer said right now. So Doug built this awesome little ice shanty for his ice fishing. You should check out BrattleboroOutdoors.com. That's Doug's outdoor adventure and guide website.
Thanks for the pitch.
Yeah, and you know, beer lover and outdoor adventurer. So we moved inside, and now we're trying the Long Trail. This is from their Brewmaster series. This is their coffee stout. It's 8% ABV. It's made with coffee from the Vermont Coffee Company, according to the label there. A little bit more gentle than the last.
Specially roasted.
Especially roasted just for the Long Trail, folks. Now this is a cellared beer. We had this down the cellar from about 2008. So it's not spent too long down there, but it has spent a little bit of time down there. And I remember trying it back when we got it, new. It was a really coffee, aroma, and that settled down a bit, or perhaps my nose is just frozen from being out here. But
yeah, that's part of it.
But it, it's still quite tasty. It's a
drier.
Yeah, a bit drier than the Java from Southern Tier. But another good example of a coffee beer. And, haven't caught a fish yet, but we're working on it. In the interim, we'll just keep trying these coffee beers.
Well, ice fishing is a good way to spend a beer, so that's...
From the ice on the Retreat Meadows in Brattleboro, Vermont, I'm Tim Brady.
Doug Block.
And we'll see you next time on Here for the Beer.
Here for the beer.